In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the upper shaft on a Ryobi trimmer. The upper shaft attaches to the engine on your Ryobi split shaft trimmer. The opposite end attaches to the various accessories. The most common reason you need to replace the upper shaft is wear to the coupling where the accessories attach. Replacing the upper shaft is easy to do, and I'm going to show you how. Upper shaft assemblies, as well as many other parts, can be found on our website. Let's get started. I'll begin by removing the accessory from the motor shaft. The handle assembly is secured with 5 screws plus 1 anti-rotation screw. I'll split the 2 halves by removing those screws. Now remove the trigger and the trigger spring. With the trigger removed, now I can go ahead and pull the opposite half of the handle assembly away from the throttle cable. Now I'll remove the anti-rotation screw from the shaft as well as loosen the clamp. Then I can separate the shaft from the motor. There are a number of components on the old shaft that will need to transfer to the new one, so I'll go ahead and remove those now. On the motor end, I have the spring. I'll pull that away. I'll also slide the clamp off of the shaft, and then I need to remove the handle. The handle has another anti-rotation screw on the bottom. I'll go ahead and remove that. And while we're at it, there's another similar screw on this end of the shaft. Now I can loosen the screws that secure the handle. And now I can just slide this assembly off of the shaft. Now the accessory clamp. Again, there's an anti-rotation screw and the screw that tightens the clamp to the shaft. Now I can install the upper shaft. You'll notice that one end of the shaft has a cast female end to receive the accessories, and that's the end that the clamp goes on. The opposite end has a slit milled in it, and that end will go into the engine. Now we'll go ahead and install all the pieces that we took off of the old shaft. I'll start with the accessory clamp. I'll slide it onto the shaft until the holes for the anti-rotation screw line up. Then I can replace the anti-rotation screw and tighten the clamp screw. Now I'll slide the handle back onto the shaft. And again, I want to line up the holes for the anti-rotation screws. I'll use the hole that's closest to the clamp assembly. And I'll tighten the screws that secure the handle. Now I'll install another anti-rotation screw. This one keeps the inner cable liner from rotating. Now I can slide the clamp back over the shaft and replace the spring. Now I'll install the shaft back into the engine. The slot should go up towards the top of the engine. You want to make sure that you align this spring with the clutch drum. And then insert the shaft until the anti-rotation screw holes line up. Now I can reinstall the clamp and again line up the anti-rotation screw holes and install the anti-rotation screw. And now I'll secure the clamp. Now I'll slide the throttle cable into the side of the trigger grip. And I bring the cable in until it bottoms out on the shoulder. like that. Now install the throttle trigger. The alignment between the trigger and the throttle cable is important. The end of the cable has a Z shape to it. You need the fat part of that Z, or the part that's in line with the cable, to be on top of the trigger. So I'll align the trigger with the throttle cable and slide it through. And again, I just need to make sure that this fat portion is on top of the trigger when it mounts into the handle. Now install the throttle trigger spring. It wraps around the back of the throttle trigger, lines up with the hole on the trigger, and then drops into the housing. As I slide the trigger and spring down into the housing, I want to pull the spring back so it fits just in front of the plastic rib, like that. Now I can install the other half of the throttle handle. I just want to make sure that everything's aligned, the spring, the throttle trigger, and the throttle cable up against the shoulder as I slide the two halves of the handle together. I'll go ahead and secure the handle with the 5 screws. Now install the anti-rotation screw for the trigger handle assembly. There's 2 holes on the shaft that you can choose from. You need to use the one that's closest to the engine. You'll know you've selected the correct anti-rotation screw location when the gap between the back of the handle and the clamp on the shaft is about 1/4 inch. So I'll line that up and install the screw.